Battlefield 6 just around the corner, I want to give you guys a small recap what you can expect at launch and most importantly what to expect after release. Now, I know I'm not a big creator and I was not given the chance to take part in the private playtests, but I still want to give you a detailed video anyway, because unlike many famous creators out there, I do not have a sponsorship with EA, which means that I'm the perfect voice for the common player, so you guys out there, who can share his opinions and information without being worried about some loyalty contracts. Now, I'm not accusing any creators as liars, but as you know, they often do not dare to talk about the cons of the product they're promoting, due to some advertisement rules they agreed on with the product owner. So to make this clear, I'm not spreading hate nor trying to break your hype for Battlefield 6, because I ain't just gonna point out the negative aspects, but also some positive. With this video, I'm gonna show you one by one what you should consider if you're planning on buying BF6. I'm pretty sure there will be some points you missed out or never knew about the game. So, now that you've shown enough patience, let's get started. Let's make that clear right from the beginning. Battlefield 6 is a casual FPS game. It's whether an arena shooter nor a hardcore game. It's a basic shooter that requires some knowledge about tactics, but still easy enough for casuals to learn. If you're familiar with Call of Duty, Battlefield 6 is actually Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 combined with the typical Battlefield elements. So Modern Warfare with larger maps, destruction, more vehicles and a class-based gameplay. So basically the better version of Ground War. Battlefield 6 comes with a total of 3 major game modes: the story campaign, the multiplayer and Portal. Well, there is also a battle royale, which is supposed to come 18 days after launch, but since it's going to be free to play, I am not going to count that in. I mean, if it's free, it's always worth a shot. So let's take a closer look to the other game modes. First of all, the story. The story campaign of Battlefield 6 is going to be a mixed experience between linear and open levels. So basically scripted areas where you have only one way to fight through, but also open areas where you can drive around with vehicles. The story campaign comes with 9 missions, which will take 4 to 5 hours to complete. Now regarding the story, I must say DICE kept it really simple. So the whole narrative of the game might be about NATO versus Pax Armada, so a private military based on ex-NATO countries, but the whole story is actually about an American squad fighting some bad guys. So basically the typical Western kindergarten story as always. So not anything special basically. And of course with the lack of familiar characters and the ununique story, it won't be memorable for many people. So do not expect a Call of Duty-like experience. Besides, who could ever beat my boy Graves?
Fucking sinker, that's what I'm talking about, Shadows! You know I love that shit!
I want the target and I want the sun.
So in the end, the only purpose of the campaign is to shut up those yelling for a story campaign and to introduce you the basics of the multiplayer. So actually, it's just like back in the day. First the campaign that gives you the vibes of this game, and then the multiplayer, the heart of Battlefield. Next up, Portal. Now Portal is quite a funny mode. You have a bunch of custom game modes that some people created themselves to have some fun experience if you're tired of the multiplayer. If interested, you can make a custom game mode yourself, but be aware that it requires learning the system. So if you want to create an own game mode with your own rules, with your own assets you put on a specific map, it will take time and energy, probably even multiple days, depending on how big and detailed your project is. But just keep in mind that you are not the only one creating your own server. It might take some time until it gets some popularity. Just wanted to mention it, since many tend to forget that. Now let's come to the most important part, the multiplayer. Now there's so much about the multiplayer that I'm just going to mention the most interesting aspects. So first of all, Battlefield 6 does not feature a main game mode. Of course, you will have the custom search where you can pick the specific game modes that you want, like Conquest, Breakthrough, Rush, Squad Deathmatch, Domination, and Escalation. But just like in 2042, you will have a weekly rotation of previously set playlists, whereas the open class system will be considered as default. So if you want to play weapons locked to specific classes, you will have to pray for an available playlist. And yeah, unfortunately, there is no Operations game mode. Just imagine if we had that Operations game mode I was always talking about in the past. Bro, that would have been crazy as fuck. But yeah, never mind. We still have other problems though. For example, the lack of a server browser. Many of you out there might think it's not that big of a deal, but with the confirmed skill-based matchmaking in the game, it will give players a hell of a time, I'll tell you that. And no, to make this clear, the team balancer is not the same as the matchmaking. The matchmaking creates the match. So it gathers around players, in this matchmaking, players with same skill, and puts them into a lobby. And after the creation of the lobby, the team balancer gets to work. So no, it's not the same. But we are lucky that skill-based matchmaking in Battlefield 6 ain't that strong as in Call of Duty, for example. I made a whole experiment during the beta and created a funny video about it. If you haven't seen it yet, you can go and check it out. It's really entertaining. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. They've made some changes since the beta to keep the game more grounded. They, for example, nerfed the movement and extended the regeneration time of your health. And me, as an aggressive player, I'll say that's a good thing. Because during the beta, the game was kinda too fast, even for me. Right at launch, we can also expect a huge amount of weapons. We got a total of 60 guns and around 10 vehicles. And after such a long time, I know it was in 2042, but I don't care. Finally, the Blackhawk, let's go! I'm really sorry to break character, but the Blackhawk is just so sexy. But of course, me as a chopper enthusiast, it's normal that I'm about to come. And now, I've been looking forward to this. We have, just like I said in the past, operators. Not that I'm a fan of it, it's just what I expected. But DICE came up with the most genius idea. The system they have with the characters might be the best in the whole franchise. We have operators with a limited personality for each class as its own faction within a coalition. Now to all those loyal G's out there, do you remember when I talked about custom voice lines? When I said it would be cool if you could like customize your character's nationality and with that change his lines. Like picking Italian as an additional language where your character would say grazie instead of thank you. And how it would give more character to a coalition versus coalition narrative. DICE just created a character system where they combined this with a uniform system. Now you have a specific faction within a coalition which comes with 4 different operators, each with their own personality and character, which fits to the theme. I love it. It fits to the narrative, you can make money, and with nationalities, it gives people an actual reason to collect them. The only concerns I have within this character system though, how accurate / realistic are they going to be in the future? While the NATO faction consists of American, British and Egyptian soldiers, Pax Armada on the other hand is being described as a mercenary group and not a specific faction related to a country. For example, the characters from the beta were a bunch of French and Spanish soldiers, but not France and Spain as its own faction. And I'm kinda worried that they are going to continue to do so, like creating their own factions instead of using countries that we have in the world. Because with these random characters, they might do the same as in 2042. where they came up with strange themes like a secret human biolab or some wildlings versus techno union bullshit. Me personally, I would prefer if they use real countries. Yeah, but whatever they will bring as character skins in the end, the battlefield in BF6 will never look more uniformal than during the Battlefield 4 times. That's definitely for sure. But therefore, more diverse. Cause this time,
Bro, Digga, der Fakt, dass ich das muss erwähnen, Bro, leck mich doch am Arsch.
we have female operators. Because it appears that a large amount of players absolutely despise the appearance of women on the battlefield, even though they play a huge part on the front lines in modern combat, unlike the old days. So if you're one of those guys who insists to get the long 30-inch device plugged into your body and inserted to you with some healthy juice only by some big and muscular guy, then this might not be the game for you. Now let's come to the most important aspects: content. Until now, DICE has proven that they are actually listening to the community. But if they'll continue to do so after release is still an open question. Fact is that a huge part of the developers will be moved to the next project and a small group will remain to deliver content for Battlefield 6, which will now even become harder with an additional battle royale, if it blows up of course. But if we assume that both the multiplayer and the battle royale are going to be a success, then I really hope that DICE has the capacity for both game modes. But if not, then some content drops will be kinda disappointing. But as I say, if you want to buy a game that will come with a live service, ask yourself if you're happy with all the launch content. So now in this case, a short and unspecial story campaign to get used to the multiplayer, all the multiplayer content, so the 60 guns, the 9 maps, etc., and the portal mode. If you're happy with that, considering all the stuff I just listed, so skill-based matchmaking, no server browser, diverse skins, etc., then go for it. Now all the stuff I talked about were aspects that are predictable by experience or confirmed by solid leaks. What I cannot guarantee, however, are stuff like performance, balance issues, and for some of you the biggest concerns, hackers. Hackers will be around right at launch. Those goddamn cheat companies are absolutely cooking right now. I guarantee you that. Console gamers will always have the chance to avoid them by turning off crossplay, which will however put them in sweaty lobbies, since crossplay on is the default version of the multiplayer. Let's just hope that DICE has been cooking with Javelin as well, which will take down all enemy targets. Yeah, and that's it for today. That's actually all I got to tell you. Let me know down in the comment section if I missed anything important, and if you're going to get the game right at launch or not. Now with that being said, as always, I thank you for listening, and I see you on the battlefield.